Hello guys, welcome to MediCompass. I have cleared my FMG exam and this is my 5-month plan that I used as a first time reader. So if you're just starting your FMG prep and you feel overwhelmed, don't worry. Even if you're starting from zero or even if you already have your basics, this plan is going to help you because it lets you read and also have 2 revisions in just 5 months. And yes, it is 100% possible to get above 150 even if this is your first time reading for the exam. So, first of all, I want to give you a disclaimer that to be able to get 150, you should be consistent. So, make sure that you follow the everyday plan. I have also provided spare days in between. So, even if you're seeing this video later and it has crossed Feb 1st, you can still use the calendar and still try to compensate for the days you've lost. This plan contains 1 complete reading and 2 thorough revisions, and this is more than enough to get you above that 150 mark. I have also included a daily schedule so you can see when to wake up and how to read, how to divide your time for reading, as well as making sure that you are able to do at least 50 to 60 questions per day. So here you can see that I have started the plan on Feb 1st, and before that you will be giving a pre-grant test. So make sure that you start on the 31st of January. You will be giving your grant test just so you know where do you stand, how much are you scoring, and it doesn't matter how much you score, but it is to know what are your weak subjects, what are your strong subjects. This way you will be able to spend more time on those subjects that are weak, and you'll be able to see and read more thoroughly those subjects. And it also gives you an idea about how the paper is and what are all the types of questions you get. So, this is why you have to give your pre grant test. So, once you give the grant test on Feb 1st, our reading will start. This is our first read, so it will continue all the way until April 20th. Okay, and then our revision will be from April to May, and then after that your second revision will be from June 2nd until 27th. You will also notice that each section has spare days. These spare days are when you have a lag, or if you're starting slow, or if you just need a 1 day break, these spare days will come in handy. Also, make sure that if you finish ahead of time and you have spare days, you can just move on with the first and second revisions. Also, I want to make sure that you people realize that you should be consistent. So if you are taking 1 day break, it should be only 1 day. You cannot take more than a day off from reading. If you feel overwhelmed, if you're feeling like you have too much information, take only 1 day off, and after that you go back to reading. Because if you continuously take a break for 2 days, your rhythm will get cut off and you have to start over all again to feel motivated, to feel the continuation. Okay, so for the first reading we have all the subjects listed down here, and I have written the days that you have to spend on each subject. So you can see, if you don't want to follow my exact order, you can just look at how many days you can spend for each subject, and then you can just put preference based on your weak subjects, based on the subjects that you want to study, so you can start feeling motivated. So all these combined together, you have a total of 75 days of first reading, and I have included 3 spare days whenever you feel like you're lagging. One thing I want to mention is I have provided here pharmacology 2 hours daily. You cannot sit down and imagine that you're going to finish pharmacology in 1 week. You can do it, but it won't stay in your head. So, my way, or the better way, is to sit down every day early morning, the moment you finish your breakfast or before you have your breakfast for 2 hours, you sit down and you look for pharmacology. This is the only way that you will be able to remember the drugs and everything that is related to it, because it is a memory subject. The starting date, Feb 1st, and the end date is April 19th. After each section, you will be giving a grand test. This is so that you know where you're standing and your progress, and keep a track of your weak subjects and your strong subjects, if you're getting improved or if you're falling behind. So the grand test is on April 20th. And again, the 75 days actually ends on April 17th, but another 2 days of spare days are added so that before your grand test, you can be totally prepared. And that comes to April 19th. I will show you the calendar at the end so that you have a better view of what I'm telling. If you plan on studying subjects together, like you want to study in the morning hours some subjects, and then you want to study in the evening different subjects, so you will be studying two subjects at max. Do not try to study more than two subjects per day, because that will be overwhelming and you will have too much information to take in, and you might be overstimulated or oversaturated. So how will you do that? So suppose you want to study medicine and pediatrics together, so you will add 7 plus 4, and you will be trying to complete these two subjects in the span of 11 days. Okay, so only two subjects per day, and you have to combine a major and a minor, because if you study two majors in one day, that is a lot for your brain, and even if you try to do it, the time might not be sufficient. So you might have to compromise the quality of your reading. So make sure that your quality is more. Even if you're sitting for 2 hours, try to read everything so that you have a good quality. Even if you're reading 2 pages, make sure that it is in your head. So if you want to read, I would suggest you to read two of the subjects which go well together. So here are some combinations that I recommend. You can read surgery with anatomy, medicine with pediatrics, pharma and physiology, PSM with micro, ENT and ophthalmology, because they're both pretty small and clinical. So you can read them together. Anesthesia and pharma, radio and surgery, because most of the radio images you will be finding in surgery as well. Derma and medicine is because you will find the skin findings and you will be able to cover most of it. But again, when you study medicine and derma together, make sure you are reading it in a combined manner. Okay. So if you're reading, suppose you're reading one system, make sure you're reading the same system from the second subject. Suppose for surgery, you start gastric cancers or gastric issues, then make sure you finish the abdominal section from anatomy and then follow it by surgery GIT section. So for the first revision, the revision would be starting on 21st April and then it will end on 31st May. So that is a total of 40 days, which includes one spare day. And since this is your revision already, you should be able to move faster than what you were doing before. So I have given the subject and the number of days for each subject. So once you are able to make your own timetable, or you can follow the one that I'll be showing you in a while. So once you end on 31st May, you will have your grand test on June 1st. For the second revision, we have 2nd June. The start date and the end date will be 27th June. So I've kept this in mind that if your exam will be in July, so we should not be taking any chances. It might be on July 1st. So I have given a 4 days before plan as well. So you will end on 27th June and you will be prepared. You can give your grand test on 28th June as well. I just gave you 1 day break. So this 27th June is including the 3 spare days, because your second revision will be done in 25 days. Okay, so now I can share this PDF in the description below. So make sure you follow, and you can just print it out and stick it on your wall so that you can follow this timetable specifically. I have given all the subjects and the number of days. I have marked them. So here you will be starting with Feb, grand test on 31st. This is 31st of Jan. And then you will be continuing with your OB-GYN. OB-GYN will be the first subject because it is a very important subject and it is also quite easy compared to the other major subjects. So I would suggest you start with OB-GYN so you feel more confident. And then after OB-GYN, you will go with anatomy and surgery because they go hand in hand. And once you read anatomy, it will be easier for you to study surgery. After surgery, you will be going with physiology and medicine. After this, in March, you will start with your pedia, biochemistry, and then you will go with PSM. PSM is a very boring subject. You might feel like you're not remembering anything, but our main goal is to keep reading and continue reading. There might be numbers and tables. Whenever you find these, I want you to do a fold in that paper and make sure you bookmark it so that later when you're doing your revisions you can focus on those. Because for the general stuff you already know it, you will be learning it in medicine and micro. But for the stuff that you have to remember, like the number of asha workers, the number of beds, all such kind of stuff that are memory based stuff, or even the formulas, I want you to make a sheet and then write down everything that you want to remember and that you might forget. So this is what you will be doing in the phase of PSM. Don't worry about just remembering the numbers for now. For now, your goal is to finish the whole PSM and make sure you make a list of things you remember. Next, you will be doing ENT. ENT can be done very easily. It will be the next subject, followed by Optha and Patho. In the month of April, you will be continuing with the smaller subjects, that is forensics and minors. While reading minors, make sure you do not spend more than 2 days on one subject, because we cannot afford to waste time. Since it's only worth 5 marks, we need to read smart and not read hard. So you will be reading only the important previous year questions, previous year topics from the minors, because they will be repeating the topics, and there you cannot afford to waste your time for just 5 marks. So you will set a timer, put it for 24 hours, 48 hours, however you like, and then once the timer hits you will change the subject. Okay, so as you can see, I've given almost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days of spare days, because this is your first reading, and 80% of the time you might not be able to finish the subject as it is. So this is what you'll do. Suppose you have been reading medicine, but you are not able to finish and you need another day. This doesn't mean you will take it to the next day. No? You will just put that on hold. Put it on hold and then you follow it up here. Okay? So that is how you study smart. Because once you push this, your brain will just think, okay, if I don't finish it today, I can finish it tomorrow. I'll just move these dates and I'll try to shorten the dates for biochem, or I'll shorten the days for pedia, which you can do it, but also it is taking a risk which you can't take at this point if you want to finish everything in 5 months. So the only way you will do it is, if you have to get one more day, you will just take it and put it on hold and take it to the last 1 week. This last 1 week you can finish whatever you have left in between. Maybe you couldn't finish PSM, you can take 2 days for PSM, and however you want to do it, just make sure you following other subject as it is. On April 20th, you will be giving your first grand test after your first reading. Even if you get 50 out of 300, even if you get 60 out of 300, it does not matter, because the main point of doing grand tests is to know more about yourself and also the exam, and also more topics. So you, if you get 50 out of 300, that means you have 250 of topics that you can learn, and this is a good way to have some more topics added into your brain. So think it that way and continue to keep learning. Do not look at the scores. So first thing you'll do after you give grant test is you will review it. I also will be posting a video on how to read the grant, how to do the grant test and how to review them, and also the question bank. So make sure you watch it. If it's already posted, I will be adding the link on the screen or in the description box. So for the revision time, during revision, you will start with anatomy and surgery again as a pair, and then you will go with opta and ENT. So the way I have written this revision period is, I've put some harder subjects followed by days with easier subjects, so that you don't feel overwhelmed and so that you can have a break in between even though you're still reading. So you will have OBG followed by pedia, medicine, and then I've given a break because medicine might take 4 days. So if you finish it by 8th, it's okay. That's very good. You can continue. But if not, you can use this spare day. And this spare day, you can use it for any of the subjects on top as well. So then you will go on with FMT and then minors, path of micro, physio, biochem, and PSM. I've put PSM at the end because PSM is more of memory stuff, so you need more time to remember, and it is how you will be revising even before the exam. You have to put the memory based subjects at the end so that you can read it right before the exam and it will be fresh in your head. That is why biochem is also in front in the end. Next, again, after this revision session, again here you have a spare day with PSM because PSM might take longer, and then you will be giving your grand test on June 1st. Now for your second revision, again you will go on with the clinical and theory based subjects, and then you will have your subjects that you have memory based revision, micro, pharma, and PSM, also biochem. Like I said, I have put minors and FMT in between here and there. ENT, pedia, all these subjects are going to give you somewhat of a rest in your whole tight schedule so that you don't waste your time. At the same time, you're still reading something because they are not as hard as the other subjects. Your last grand test will be on the 29th. Actually, you can give this from 27th to 30th anytime you feel comfortable, but I've just put it on 29th because it's Sunday and you can take a break in between, or you can read your lag subjects or however you feel comfortable. But one more grand test is supposed to be given. So coming to your daily schedule, I've put down a timetable where you will be having a total of 5 study blocks, and you will also have a section where you will be doing just questions because doing questions is very important in FMG. I want to share this that Marrow would be the best option for doing questions. But again, it doesn't matter where you're doing your questions from, even if it's on Telegram, just make sure you have the practice of seeing the question and making sure you don't do silly mistakes. Sometimes we might miss the except word, sometimes we might not read the word not, or anything of that sort. We want to prepare our mind. So if you start it early, it'll be really, really helpful. And all these questions, as you do, you might all of a sudden remember, oh my god, I did this question. Because this happened with me in my FMG exam. Two of the questions, or I think more than two, at least 5 questions came directly from Marrow. And this doesn't mean that Marrow is the one who said the question paper, but it means that they have put on so many questions. And actually, if you're doing at least 60 per day, and if you continue to do this, you're doing thousands of questions. And in those thousands of questions, you might notice at least, even if there is a 0.1% chance, you will at least notice 10 questions that you have already done that you will get in your paper. So the least is 10. You can also get 100 from what you have done if you have done thousands of questions. So it's always an advantage to do these questions. And another reason to do questions is because you might read. While you're reading, you keep your book open and you're like, yeah, I know this. You have your book, you're like, da 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 da. But at the end of the day, when you get the question and you see the options, two options look very similar, and you are not able to remember what was there in that page. Has this ever happened to you? So yeah, to avoid this, the only thing you can do is actually test. So once you do the question and you're like, oh my god, yes, I don't know this topic very well. I thought I knew this, but I don't. So then you will go back and you will review. And once you review, you're 100% perfect on that topic. So that's why this is very important. So like I said, I've put early morning session of pharma for 1.5 hours, and then you can have your breakfast. Break session could be if you want to shower, if you want to just continue reading your pharma, you can do that. So your study block will start from 9:30 a.m. 9:30 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. will be your first block. Second block is from 11 to 1. You have your lunch from 45 minutes, followed by another study block. Each study block is for 2 hours. and then you have a 15 minutes break here, and then another study block, and then your day ends here. After this, you have a 30 minutes relax and refresh. So you can go for a walk, you can go meditate, you can go watch TV, but do not open your phone because I do not suggest. But if you do want to use your phone, there are a lot of pages on Instagram that keep posting reels of previous year topics, and you can also follow us, MediCompass, on Instagram, and we will also be sharing uh, previous year topics for every other and every alternate days. So that will also be very helpful. This way, even though you're just relaxing, you're having passive learning. At 6:30 to 8:30, you have your 2 hours of questions session. So this 2 hour question session will be done every single day, and you will be doing minimum of 50 questions. At 9:30 to 10:30, you have another study block. Now this study block is not for you to learn something new, but in fact all these study sessions, whatever you have read, you will be reviewing or revising over here. Okay, but if you don't want to do that, if you feel like you want to finish the pharma some more, you want to do some more questions, you can do that also. Or you can just, if you forgot to finish something, or you still had some more topics that you couldn't finish, your daily goals that you couldn't finish, you can add it here. So that will be your day. Make sure you're consistent with this day. It is not hectic at all, because if you're at home, sleeping at 10:30 and waking up at 7 o'clock is very, very easily done. And if you're having a problem getting up at 7 a.m., I would suggest you to just move the time slots. So this would just, you would just add another 2 hours. So this is at 9 a.m. and you would end at 12:30 a.m. But one thing I would suggest is you can continue that timetable of sleeping at 1 a.m. or 12:30 a.m. until the month of May. So starting from May 1st, or starting from May 31st, you should be sleeping at 10:30 whatsoever, because the exam will be in the morning and you don't want to have a habit of sleeping late, which will affect you on the exam day. Because on the exam day, if you're sleepy or you have a headache or you drank too much coffee so your head is throbbing, all that might affect your performance whether you like it or not, and you might end up with 1 mark less. So we do not want to take any chances. We do not want to be uncomfortable on the day of the exam. You should have your best self on the exam day to go and write the exam. So starting May 31st, 10:30 should be your bedtime. Okay? So that is all your schedule for the 5-month strategy of first time readers with 2 revisions. I will be adding this PDF in the description below. I also want to share that we will be sharing 100 days of previous year topics in our YouTube channel. So make sure you subscribe. This will give you that boost that you need, because you never know from where the question might come, and it is always good to know more than know less. And these videos will not be more than 5 minutes, and they will be containing previous year topics, explanations, and this will help you just have an upper hand when you go to write the exam. So make sure you follow us. Make sure you follow us on MediCompass in Instagram, and here this is our YouTube channel where we will be posting 100 days of previous year topics, and they will be posted. So better click the bell icon. But if you cannot, you will be having the videos every alternate days until the day of the exam, and they will be starting mid February. So you can watch these videos while you're taking your break or just having a walk. So you can just spend 5 minutes and you will be knowing 2 more topics from FMGE. Okay. So thank you so much for watching this, and make sure you put all your efforts to pass this exam. Good luck, and I'm sure you will cross that 150.